Hi, everyone. And Hi, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Wendy Murja. I am super excited to be co-hosting this amazing webinar for you today. I think we're going to wait just a couple more seconds to make sure that everyone who wants to join us is coming in and joining us, but we should be able to start soon. We have a jam-packed agenda for you, so hopefully you have a nice cup of tea or coffee or a juice or something to keep you energized. I would also like to make note that we do have a comment section available. So please feel free at any point of the webinar to pop in any questions or comments you have. We will be saving all of the questions for the very end just to make sure that we get through today's content. But thank you again so much for joining us. Super excited to be talking about the current state of retail as it results to Salesforce's Data 360 product. Some of you have known the product to be called Data Cloud. We just recently rebranded. So if that wasn't something you knew about, hopefully now you know. This is our lineup of amazing speakers. Again, my name is Wendy Murja. I will more or less be moderating today, but we're welcomed by my Salesforce colleague, Abhi Prasad, and then we have 3 colleagues joining us from our partner, Cloud Odyssey. That will be Anand Rayudu, Srinivas Bimimpali, and Venkat Nikanti. So super excited to be with this amazing panel today. They're the experts, so please lean on them. I don't think you'll want to be listening to me for very much longer. But just before we get things kicked off here, a quick little look of the agenda. You can kind of expect our take on the current data trends and challenges, get a little bit of our take on the vision of Customer 360 for the omnichannel retail. Abhi will do a little bit of a deep dive on an introduction on the Salesforce Data 360 product. We will then go into the future of omnichannel retail, talking about some opportunities with Data 360. Cloud Odyssey will also share a use case or customer story with us. And then we'll close out with some of the Cloud Odyssey Data 360 accelerators that are available to you, as well as go over some of the roadmap of Data 360 and then close out with Q&A. So as I said, gear up, listen up, post those questions and comments if you have any. And that's it for me for right now. So let's get this started.
Yep. Thanks, Wendy. So before we get on to the technical aspects of our session today, so let's spend some time trying to understand, what kind of market size we are talking about, what kind of trends are going on, and the challenges. Then before we get on to discussing about the data 360, right? So as per the market research, UK is ranked 6th in the global market as per the market size goes. And there is a tremendous growth, like 50% growth in the next 8 years, and there are various different reasons for that. And, and we call them as growth drivers. We picked up top 5 of them for discussion and then go deeper into it and see how our data 360 is going to address them. The first one being the omni-channel and unified commerce. See, omni-channel is something which has been there for quite some time, right? We were talking about multi-channel all the while, then omni-channel as far as the seamless customer conversation is concerned. Now, many of the retailers have already onboarded this technology. Now, we are moving towards the unified commerce. So along with omni-channel, unified commerce is nothing but having a real-time integration between the back-end systems to your complete tech stack, right? So that you can provide a next level customer experience. That is something which is catching up speed. And the second one, data-driven personalization. Personalization is again, we use that very common, but earlier we were talking about customer segments, region-wise. Right now we are going little micro level, where each individual, can be provided with a personalized communication because we have the technology which is helping us towards that direction, right? And we will see what exactly is that personalization. And social commerce, this is very specifically target for the Gen Z customer segment, wherein they are known to be spending most time on the, that's what research says, on the social media platforms. So retailers, whoever are actually available there in the social platform, these guys are very influenced, right, by the influencers and peer groups, right? So I mean, they made instant purchases. That's called impulse purchase, right? So there are retailers who are actually providing, them where they can make an instant purchase, and we are seeing a significant market in that too. Sustainability is the next one, wherein the users currently are very conscious about the kind of carbon footprint they are actually leaving when they purchase a product. So they wanted to know what exactly the specifications toward the supply chain. Right, that's the, and the last another growth driver which we see is on the resale, the different revenue streams, right? Primarily, renting out the website, that's called, we call retail media, reselling business model. So these are some of the growth drivers that are coming up. Now, while then see, now we have been talking about the technology for many years, right? So then what exactly is stopping the retailers to completely transform themselves, right? We'll talk about that in the next slide. Yeah. So I will I will discuss about the data points and then talk about some of the numbers that has been put over there. The first and foremost is the fragmented customer data. This is a well-known problem, right? Even we talk about omni-channel, unified commerce, agentic AI, right? But still, 60% of UK retailers still suffer from this fragmented data, data silos, right? I mean, we'll figure out, how can we address that problem, but still that is existing a real problem that we are talking about. And rising costs. So the energy prices or the wages, right? It's actually impacting the margins big time. And it is a high time wherein we, automate, some of the repeated activities. That's one of the trend that currently facing. We'll be addressing that in our solution. Limited AI readiness. See, I mean, everyone is excited when you talk about agentic AI or agent force or I mean, building up agents to automate things. But once we start developing, a POC and everyone start liking the particular outcome that is showing up, but it stops, moving forward because of the data quality that they currently have in their system. That's a real problem, and that is when the data 360 is exactly going to address that particular situation. We will see how it happens. Now, coming to sustainability and profitability, right? I mean, providing the complete carbon emissions across the supply chain is little challenging for every retailer. If in case the retailer is also a producer of the goods, he might be having that information. But if but not every retailer is actually getting that information. That's that they don't know how to gather that information. That is one of the problems that we are talking about. Social commerce. So social commerce is good, right? I mean, obviously, they don't have to go out of the platform; they can make the instant purchases. But how about the security, right? And how do you measure the ROI? Which channel is actually giving us more revenue, right? This kind of challenges are there. We'll see how our solution is going to address each one of them. Some of the data points we have kept to the left side of this slide, which talks about the current situation, right? I mean, they don't have a complete control on the quality of the data that they have, right? If you see the last, the third point, right? 60% of AI projects lacking AI ready data. Then when you onboard new technologies, when your data is not up to the quality, then you cannot really derive good insights after that one. So that is the biggest problem that we are talking about, and that's the core agenda item for this session too, right? We will also look into some of the statistics in the next slide. About what exactly the siloed data, right? Yeah. So Shivraj, can we go to the next slide, please? Yeah. Yeah. So this is one of the very specific impact analysis that happens when we talk about the data silos. The top four items, right? Whether it's the compliance risks or decision making, lack of unified view of your customer. So when you cannot have a unified view of your customer, look at the kind of customer experience, right? I mean, that's a huge impact in this current situation. We are talking 2025. If you're not able to identify the customer, whether he's an online customer visiting a store or vice versa, then it actually impacts our customer experience. So data silos or fragmented data is a huge problem for any digital transformation journey. So that has to be addressed no matter what technology we are going to onboard. Now, getting onto the vision, right? I mean, what exactly are we trying to achieve from onboarding new tools, right? So Shivraj, next slide, please. So we have from all the conversations that we have seen, there are three important items that we see as a part of the vision. Yeah. So the first one being the connected customer. No matter where the customer is, we should be the sales representative or store manager or whichever format that we talk about should be able to identify your customer end to end. They should be clearly having an idea about what are their purchasing history, your preferences, which store they have visited, right? Each and every detail, every stakeholder should be having, then only they can have a meaningful customer. That is one of our vision that we are targeting about. The second one is the AI driven insights. Yeah, you have all the good data. Now, what kind of intelligence can we derive out of it? Right. So, when someone walks into your store, you should be able to know. I mean, the system should be providing intelligence to you, saying that, hey, this guy, based on his experience or past history, the so and so product can be, a next best action or next best product recommendation can be provided to the sales representative. So we need to derive insight. That's another pillar or goal that we have set for our data 360. The third one is the agile growth engine, in the sense like whatever technology that you onboard in the current scenario where technology is rapidly changing, our ecosystem has to be scalable enough so that you don't have to again redo the things. So this is when we actually look up to data 360 to address each one of these particular goals. And so let's deep dive into what our data 360 is. And I know Abhi is going to walk us through complete details into data 360. Over to you, Abhi.
Thank you, Srini. Really good insights over there that's probably well set up for me to talk into the product itself. Just to sort of echo some of Srini's thoughts, we live in an incredible new world, right? Like technology is elevating us. It elevates us as individuals. It should elevate us as organizations as well. And I'm sure everybody in this webinar today are using LLMs at some shape or form already, and they are great, right? They are great, but they aren't perfect. And especially if you look at our enterprise retail customers, they have a lot of knowledge, but this knowledge is currently trapped, it's siloed, it's disconnected. And the paradox in all of this is this disconnected data is actually very much interconnected. And I'll give you a very personal anecdote over here. Me and my partner were looking to buy a car recently. We got the car, but we still kept getting hit with messages on the same car that we've already bought, and essentially some really personalized premium advertising. And we've just bought the car, and it's a week later that we're getting hit with these messages. Clearly, that is a lot of wasted media spend there, a lot of wasted data, and clearly shows that data hasn't been very interconnected. So there is a gap between knowing your customers and what they need versus actually actioning on top of it. So this is the premise in which we built this product and started working on it. So what if that gap of knowing your customers and actioning on it disappears? It's effectively connecting your data to the place where it's needed at the time which it's needed and able to deliver the value it's supposed to. And that's essentially how we went about our vision of building Data 360. So if you go on to the next slide, we've been on a journey with this product over the last 4 to 5 years. We decided to build this product at Salesforce rather than acquire it, and we built it on what we call as the core platform. And initially, we launched it as a traditional CDP, so marketing use cases, bringing in lots of data, unifying profiles, improving campaign management, and a lot of customers joined us on this journey. But as we scaled, we also realized that it was not just on the marketing front, it's also on the sales and service and commerce aspects that we need to still build that unified customer journey. And again, massive scale. You can see some of the numbers here. While we've got all of these customers working with us today, it's also some of the technology partners who've jumped on this journey with us. Initially, they did try to build this product internally, then realized that Salesforce had a better ecosystem for it. And we noticed that they've all become big customers of Data 360 as well. And the recent example is Meta, who spoke at our flagship event at Dreamforce, where they spoke about how they actually create unified customer profiles for about 4 billion customers in their B2B business. So the sheer scale of this at an enterprise level is actually growing, and a lot can be done, like Srini mentioned, in terms of hyper personalizing to your customers at scale in a simple platform. So what essentially is Data 360, right? So if we move on to the next slide, Data 360 is basically the evolution of what we used to call as Data Cloud. It's the same product, but has a new name with a ton more of innovation that's coming. But essentially, Data 360 is what we call as the activation engine for all of your enterprise data in the front office. So irrespective of where this data sits, at the back end, middle end, in multiple systems, you're able to bring it to the front office to then activate, where essentially you will be serving your customers. And it's primarily set to do two things. One is the personalization of every customer touch point, which we've all spoken about just now. And second is obviously, as we scale, as AI scales, we know we live in the agentic era. So how can you bring the right context to all of these agents? And that's what the Data 360 is set to do. And most recently, we also made an acquisition in Informatica, which then strengthens our capabilities here, because the single most critical ingredient for powering any sort of enterprise intelligence is obviously context. And we are able to now bring this context where we take raw data and systems that don't speak the same language, say, for example, a serial number, a SKU, a product name, all describing the same thing, but defined differently across different systems. So the magic happens when you're able to unify all of that data and systems to what we create as a context, so that there's meaning, history, relationships, and we're able to really transform some of this information into intelligence. And all of this done in the trusted, governed layer within Salesforce. So you have the data and metadata to then bring Data 360 to that activation layer. So organizations are not just building data pipelines, but they're getting the business context for AI analytics that the teams can actually trust. Now, obviously, me being a Salesforce employee, talking about all of this is fun, but it comes into reality when you see some really trusted industry experts actually approving some of this, right? So Data Cloud, Data 360 has been consistently named as a leader by some of the well-known, reputed organizations. So it's been named as a leader in the 2025 Gartner's Magic Quadrant for data platforms. We've also been named in the Forrester Wave as the best data platform for B2C. So quite a few reports out there and many links here that point towards what we're building here and why we're doing this at scale. And some of the features are also been very well received by some of these industry experts. Cool. So if we go on to the next slide, I've set the premise for why we built this product. I've shared what it essentially does, but how does it all work, right? I think that's where it really comes to life. So Data Cloud, Data 360 is designed to work with systems and enterprise apps that you already have. So what it's able to do is break down silos and harmonize information from Customer 360, data lakes, data warehouses, business applications, regardless of format, using low-code tools. And through this approach, enterprises across every industry can use all of their data to power, automate, or derive any sort of insights from the data that they already have. So how does it work? More on this detail will come through in the later section, but at a very high level, it starts by connecting all of the disparate data sources that already exist within the organization, whether it's within the Salesforce ecosystem or sitting outside of Salesforce. And then also what we're able to do is use our zero copy capabilities where possible. So you don't really need to actually move the data. The data can decide where it is, but you can connect to it. And once those connections are made, you harmonize all of this data to create one unified view of the customer that every application across the customer 360 can actually access. So once that data is unified, you're making sure that all of the governance and security is also well taken care of, because different markets, different regions have different rules, and you're ensuring that all of that is adhered to. And once that's done, you're creating segments and activating at scale, right? So you could basically activate within the Salesforce ecosystem, within, say, Marketing Cloud, Service Cloud, Sales Cloud, or you could create context for agents so that AI agents can run on it, or you could do activations outside of Salesforce through third-party applications as well. So you're able to now take action on your data faster than ever before. And that's the real beauty of this product, that it's the ability to move at scale from source to activation in almost sub-second real time. And that's where we see customers are seeing real value. If we move on to the next slide, we obviously can't do this just by ourselves as Salesforce, right? As much as we want, not all of the data sits within Salesforce. And that's why we took a very open approach to this, where we've gone out there, we're first in the market to try and build on zero copy capabilities. So we did that across the hyperscalers, the likes of AWS, Google, Microsoft, but also some of the leading data platforms like Snowflake and Databricks, but also continuing on that journey, building about, I think we've got over 270 native connectors. So wherever possible, we're using native connectors to connect to all of this data. And you can see that some of our competitors as well are partnering with us on this, because eventually we want this to be an open ecosystem where you're able to bring data, but also share back data to other technologies. So you're able to activate in each of those platforms at scale. If we go on to the next slide. Right. So just to close the section out, we spoke about what Data 360 is, what are some of the connectivity we have, but obviously the activation is where we really make a difference. And if you look at business use cases, it broadly falls into these three buckets. So we've obviously got the marketing side of things, where we are able to deliver personalized real-time experiences. So irrespective of which marketing technology you're using, you're able to use Data 360 to create that single customer profile, which then gets activated. So there's obviously traditional CDP and much more in that space. The second bucket, which is growing and is potentially going to grow a lot more going into next year as Agentforce scales across organizations, is basically powering smarter AI agents. So we spoke about context, like how does Data 360 become that single foundational layer that is providing context almost as the memory for these agents. So then you're able to build these agents, but also able to make them more autonomous and work seamlessly with humans. So you're having that digital labor also play along with your humans to then serve your customers better. And then lastly, obviously the service aspect, which is some of our core business, which is sales and service. So essentially, when end users like account managers or customer service reps are actually using the platform, how do they get the single view of the customer? So say marketing has run a campaign, how is the customer service rep also aware of that? And how can he talk with that context in mind so that the customer is getting a unified experience, irrespective of it being from different parts of the business? So that we're seeing happen quite a bit, and we've got some big logos already adopting this at scale. So that's again a real big value for us as a business. I'm going to close out there from a high-level introduction and now pass it on to Venkat.
Thanks, Srini, and thanks, Happy, for setting up the real-time insights and giving the actual introduction to Data 360, like what exactly Data 360 offers. And moving to the opportunity, like what exactly retail is expected to be. And so as the title says, the retail Data 360 opportunities. So let me not just walk you through these fantastic slides. I would like to add a storytelling flavor. So think of it this way, like where your customer data is behaving like a teenager, basically moody, disorganized, and popping up in places where it shouldn't really be, where it shouldn't really has to be. Okay, the first one is the data is fragmented across different systems, where retailers would love to say that we have loads of data, which is true, but unfortunately it's spread across different systems that haven't spoken to each other since before your last family gathering. And think of this like CRM in one place and POS is in another, and e-commerce of doing it its own entirely thing differently. And it's all having different ingredients for a holiday roast, but just stored in different places, which is not a good scenario. And coming to lack of real-time insights, more insights arrive with the urgency of a delayed train announcement. So something important happens with the customer today, and we get to hear from it about tomorrow. So that's not a good scenario again. And during this holiday period, when customers are making faster decisions, when you say the last minute gift, that lag is exactly where this purchase is ending up in a competitor place. And coming to identity chavos and duplicate profiles, say like Sarah in commerce and Smith in loyalty and S. Smith in POS, were three different versions of the same person, all getting slightly different messages from you. And in December, where inboxes are already a competitive sport, that's the kind of confusion that sends to a customer straight to a competitor, usually the one who made the first email correctly. Okay. And coming to the inability to activate data where it exactly matters, where marketing can't target the right audience and sales can't see the full story of the customer, and service agents are working about half of the information. And likely it's like handing over a Christmas cracker joke and telling that it's the full strategy. When customers are in peak buying mode, you can't simply afford this to go with this kind of incomplete context. And on the other side, when coming to the compliance and governance risk, like your consents are stored here and your preferences somewhere else. It's like a festive treasure hunt where we can this particular expected price is like avoiding a fine. And mostly, as a overall, right, this result will leads to a missed revenue, a disconnected experiences, insufficient campaigns, and the decision making that moves as the speed as like a holiday airport check-in queues. Finally, the call out I would like to make is your data isn't the issue, your fragmentation is. And this time of the year when customers are moving quickly, you simply can't afford to mix one loyal customer with someone else checkout. That's exactly why Data 360 exists. It connects the systems, resolves the identities, and gives more real-time insights. And finally, you treat your customer like you actually recognize them. And so these are the set of opportunities what we foresee in retail for Data 360. So for the next slide, I'll be walking you through the one of the success story what Salesforce and Cloud Odyssey has given to the end client. So moving to the case study, here you can see the client is basically a leading jewelry retailer enterprise that is transforming its business with a digital first approach to customer engagement and operational excellence, and serving a broad and growing customer base across all the APAC region. Now, interestingly, this client success story is a Salesforce multi-cloud engagement and a true Salesforce success story. So when we began this engagement with the discovery workshops, and I have to say, thanks to Salesforce product teams for making both our partners and customers' life easy with such a strong out of the box functionalities. This particular project involved Sales Cloud, Service Cloud, Marketing Cloud, and Tableau as well. However, as a solution engineer, when I started with the stakeholder interviews, like where everyone were confident saying that, hey, we already have everything what we needed, say be it the data lakes, the data warehouses, and even the data lakes, and which is having a centralized data repository for all their data. And finally, everyone are convinced, I mean each teams and each departments are convinced saying that we have everything in place, where initially they are reluctant to share the data across the teams as well. But when we started asking the real questions around achieving a full customer 360 view, creating unified profiles, harmonizing the data, and enabling the customer experiences, and followed by a near real-time personalized experiences, and there comes the answer, a simple no from multiple stakeholders. And finally, we got a good to go with Data 360, which gives us zero copy data. And that's how exactly we got into the Data 360 engagement. So firstly, on the challenges, customers data here in this particular retail engagement, customer data was scattered everywhere. POS knew one thing, ERP does the another, and service records in a different system, and the website is tracking yet another. And marketing didn't knew like which customers has bought the last and what sale has to be preferred. And the service team always they're just chasing the history. Every interaction felt disconnected here. So picture this: when customer walks in for an anniversary purchase, the store doesn't know like what she bought last year and what service request she made earlier, and at the same time what she was browsing online. So this is an opportunity to delight her rather, and it's like basically to delight her and drive a loyalty, which is lost because of the disconnected experiences. And coming to the solution, how Data 360 and Cloud Odyssey has changed this retail story. So enter the customer Data 360, the golden record of every customer interaction. Suddenly, all fragmented systems, be it POS, ERP, the in-store kiosks, and the websites, are speaking the same language, where every customer now has a simple, unified, accessible real time. And coming to the marketing automation, where they can leverage the real time data, which can help them to send the personalized campaigns, and say, for example, be it a birthday, anniversaries, or festival occasions. Or not just that, it's just about nudges for the next predicted purchase as well. And sales and service teams now have full visibility on what past purchases are, and what past preferences are, and they can even predict the next moves as well. And now everything flows seamlessly, be it with the Salesforce Sales Cloud or Service Cloud or the Marketing Cloud, all are connected to the Data 360 foundation. So now the Tableau dashboard shows the clear segmentation, the campaign performances, and actionable KPIs, what retailer is expecting. So the business now can finally act on the insight, not on the guesswork. And coming to the outcomes, so today our client was able to operate in a truly connected brand. So every customer interaction is informed by the 360 view, and campaigns feel really personal and timely. And the sales teams and the service teams are working smarter, not harder. And the loyalty has been strengthened because the experiences now matches the expectations. So this isn't just a platform upgrade. With Data 360 at its heart, the brand can finally feel the customers as people, not just as a data points, and deliver experiences what truly resonates to them. And so moving to the next slide, so I'll just walk you through like how did we achieve that. So this might look like a puzzle, and I'll make sure that I'll give you a guided tour of this architecture that shows like how we achieved this without putting anyone into sleep. So starting on the left side, you can see the operational jungle. So because we have like too much of data there, which is scattered across different systems, be it ERP, be it in-store kiosk, be it POS systems. And finally, on the top, the website which jumps in, tracking what customers browses and what they love, of course, at the same time, what they abandon in the cart. And coming to the central database, where all the data lands in the central database from all these different systems. Think of it like a big filling cabinet where everything was gets dumped. And this is the honest, unfiltered truth of the business. And now coming to the actual picture and the star of the show, which is Data 360. This is where the brains of the operation holds in. And it takes all the messy data, the raw data, and towards the right you can see like like how we enable to the different channels, and also with the within Salesforce ecosystem, be it Marketing Cloud or Sales Cloud or Service Cloud. And coming to the CRM consumption on the Salesforce cloud side, so when we pass this shiny information or the shiny data, and with which is enriched with profiles, so sales team were able to utilize it with the right campaigns, and they're able to detect like every time like what customer is expecting to be. And coming to the Marketing Cloud and Tableau, where Marketing Cloud can get the real good stuff to segment the behaviors of a customer, and it sends the right message actually, which is more relevant, and not happy birthday like 3 weeks later. And Tableau on top of it, which helps the business make the right decisions on the facts, not on the vibes. And coming to the right side, we can see the customer channels, where everything lands in the channels of a customer, which actually they use, be it a WhatsApp or an email or an SMS chat, all powered by the single view from customer Data 360. And so at this time, the customer gets one consistent experience instead of feeling that they're talking to four different companies. So in short, everything messy goes to the left, and Data 360 sorted in the middle. And the right, you can see it makes the customer looks more incredible, smart, personalized experiences. So this is how we achieved the success for Data 360 in a multi-cloud engagement. Then moving to the next slide. So here we are talking about the roadmap, which is more towards like one set of roadmap for data for what we are offering from Cloud Odyssey, and definitely the other set of roadmap from Salesforce Data 360. So firstly, many thanks to the Cloud Odyssey for their investment in accelerators. The Cloud Odyssey innovation pods have a huge backlog of accelerators that sit on top of the out-of-the-box functionalities what Salesforce is already having. So Cloud Odyssey has developed this set of purpose-built accelerators that dramatically cut implementation time and reduce the project cost. So this think of this like pre-engineered building blocks for data cloud. And let's start with data ingestion blueprints that plug in into your ERP, POS, and web and all the legacy systems which are out of the box. And then comes your profile personalized engine, which unifies the identity. You finally get a single view and a trusted customer profile. Next to the segment and activation kit, where this lets the team push audiences into marketing cloud, sales cloud, and different ad platforms in real time. So no custom development is required here with this particular segment activation kit as an accelerator. And on the governance, like our consent framework ensures the GDPR and the CCPA compliance from day one. And the real-time insight framework feeds the live data into Tableau dashboards and agent consoles to support immediate decision making. Finally, we offer industry specific data models for retail, manufacturing, and customer goods. So it covers the entire segment of retail. And so clients can start with the KPIs and structure their industry already expects. And together with these all accelerators gives the organization a faster, safer, and more predictable path value with the Salesforce Data Cloud. So as a disclaimer, the next accelerator we are working on with the sorry to the previous slide. Yeah. So the next accelerator we are working on is the pre-consumption calculator, which lets client estimate how many credits could be utilized for a given use case. So this also helps clients to implement Agentforce with confidence, knowing that their credits consumption upfront. So this is one of the accelerator which we have in roadmap right now. And moving to and all right, like right now we covered all the roadmap what we have from Cloud Odyssey. Let's hear straight from the horse's mouth like what Data 360 has to offer for the roadmap.
Thanks, Venkat. I think Venkat's obviously covered some of the great work that Cloud Odyssey are working towards and already working on, to be fair. And some of that is obviously ensuring that implementing this technology that is changing at a rapid pace at scale for our customers. If you look at Data 360 in itself, typically Salesforce does releases 3 times in a year. With Data 360, we do releases almost every month. So the product is evolving really quickly. It is the largest growing organic Salesforce product. So creativity and experimentation by our customers have really propelled some of our innovation. And these are some really broad topics where we see a lot of innovation currently going on. An example recently is, again, a jewelry retailer who told us about streaming data, where they really wanted customers on their website to get almost real-time personalization happening with them, and how we could use some of that streaming data and serve them sub-second real-time. Similarly, from a zero copy capability perspective, a lot of our customers in Japan told us about IBM mainframe data being critical. So now IBM mainframe data can be zero copied into the Data 360 through Iceberg standards, even DB2. So this is, again, another path-breaking partnership we're having with some of our technology partners. A lot of what we discussed today was primarily on structured data. But from an unstructured data perspective, which is probably about 70 to 80% of an organization's enterprise data estate, all of that can also be processed within Data 360. And these are capabilities we are looking to improve on massively as we grow, because unstructured data can be put into Data 360 directly, and we can do the chunking and indexing, which means the data can immediately be converted into a structured format, but also be immediately available for AI agents in the future to take care of any type of agentic enterprise search, any type of observability that you want to do on these agents, but also make the most recent data available in the easiest format so that agents can really get access to it. So just to close out, retail industry currently today is obviously collecting more data than ever before. But with average enterprises using more than 1,000 applications, this data is obviously still sitting in silos, and there are many, many versions of a customer, because brands are having a lot more interactions than ever before. But a lot of the companies have tried to solve this by making different investments, but we're seeing Data 360 is really able to do this at scale with an open and extensible architecture that is native to the Salesforce platform. So we leverage the power of the Salesforce metadata to enable customers to ingest, federate data across all data sources to power automation, activation, and analytics at scale, irrespective of what their experience is within the platform. I'm going to close with that and look forward to your questions.
Abhi and team, thank you guys so much. I thought that was really insightful. It looks like we actually had one question come right in there at the end. This gentleman is asking, can you explain more about zero copy architecture?
Yeah, I will take that up. So I mean, zero copy. It's like enjoying the company of the guest without hosting them. I mean, saves cost, right? Well, certainly it is not a great idea when it comes to human interactions, but it is a smart way of dealing with data. Zero copy means Salesforce data 360 can use data directly from the source system like Snowflake, BigQuery, Databricks, etc., without copying or moving it into Salesforce. Let me tell you what are the benefits, right? Why zero copy is important and why it is beneficial and why it is a buzzword in the industry. No copying of data. Data stays in one place, no duplicate copies. Faster and up-to-date data is ready to use immediately, no waiting for uploads. Then ownership of data remains intact. The original system stays the trusted source of truth. It is not copied.
Yeah.
And lower cost, no extra storage or transfer cost. Safer handling of data, no transfer, no risk of theft on the way. Easier to follow rules. Existing security and privacy controls remains as is. It need not be copied or replicated. How it works. Traditional approach, right? What we do normally, copy data, move it, store it again, then use it. More time, more cost, more risk. And when it comes to zero copy with the data 360, leave data where it is, securely reference it, use it instantly, faster, cheaper, safer, and more accurate. A simple strategy or an analogy is zero copy is like watching a movie on Netflix. You hit play, the movie stays on Netflix, you don't download the full file and you enjoy the movie. Same idea here. Salesforce Data 360 streams the data for use. It does not copy or store it again, and you save cost and you enjoy the benefit of the data. I hope I answered the question.
Anand, I like that
Yeah.
response very well. I've never heard anyone
Yeah.
talk about zero copy in terms of Netflix. Well done. Love that one. I don't know, Abhi, did you or the rest of the team have any more thoughts to add to that one? We did get a
Yeah,
second question come in.
I think that was very well covered and some really good anecdotes there. Just one thing to obviously add is obviously there's zero copy in, but there's also zero copy out. If the data needs to be pushed out from Data 360 to any other system, that can also be done in the same mechanism. So it's all about keeping it flowing while data is coming in, but also while it needs to be shared back.
Yeah.
Wonderful. We have another question coming in from one of our audience members on YouTube asking which feature of Data 360 is most difficult to learn?
Yeah, let me take that as.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I mean, you know what? If you invest time and interest, there is nothing that you cannot learn. And the universe of YouTube and the universe of ChatGPT makes your life much, much simpler, right? But then, if we are to talk about the most difficult feature of Data Cloud, undoubtedly it is identity resolution. And why it is so? See, every source system identifies customer differently. Now, phone in POS, that is uh, uh, email in e-commerce, cookie in website, loyalty ID in sometimes. So matching rules must be used carefully to avoid overmatching or undermatching. Now, what do we mean by overmatching and undermatching? Overmatching will merge two different customers, and undermatching will create multiple profiles for the same person. Both are troublesome. Both should not happen. Data quality issues become visible immediately. So when we are doing anti-resolution, the problem that do exist in various systems do not come to the surface. The moment you try to create unified profile using anti-resolution, things come to surface. Incomplete names, formatting differences, missing phone numbers, etc. Anyone can bring data into data 360. That is not a big deal. But what is a big deal? What is the hard part is making sure it belongs to the right customers. If identity resolution is not handled properly, the message that should go to A will go to B. Okay, and you may send the advertisement of lipstick to a male person, so that is not an acceptable situation to be in, and there could be people will press unsubscribe button. Technically, designing matching rules and reconciliation rules. So what is difficult technically? You have to define matching rules, you have to define reconciliation rule. And when it comes to data, handling inconsistent and duplicate records and innumerable null values. So this is pertaining to data. And when it comes to business, wrong match, wrong customer experience. So I mean, you have problems from across system if the identity resolution is not dealt with properly, and it has got a little deeper learning curve. Other tough things I can tell, I think there is some data cloud enthusiast who has asked this question. If I were to name another tough thing that which is difficult to learn, that is, creating canonical DMOs. That is also very difficult. Why it is so? Because suppose you have e-commerce data coming from one system, the other is POS, or you will have different objects. Number of objects will differ for the same business uh, purpose, and the number of attributes may be different, and creating canonical objects becomes very, very difficult. And one more thing I will try to list out, which is difficult when it comes to data cloud: managing consumption cost over time. That is very, very important from the customer point of view. That also should be taken care of.
Perfect. I think you answered it pretty detailed and very well. Thank you, Anand.
And it looks like we have a third question that's come in as well, asking about more of the challenges that they could foresee themselves facing in a Data 360 implementation. So I guess the process of implementing itself.
Yeah, yes, let me take that up. You know what? We have talked about 360 problem. Now, let me talk about, I mean, every business domains poses different challenges. So let me take an example of retail business that suppose, again, I take the example of POS and e-commerce. Now, what could be the technical challenges over here? I mean, I'm just highlighting the few challenges. There could be n number of challenges anyway. So POS and e-commerce is for the same business information using different objects. Say, for example, order, you are taking order and registering to order header, order lines, return lines, etc. But the thing is, my POS may have only 3 objects to handle these set of data, whereas e-commerce may have 4 or 5 objects. Now, you have to make sure that when you are bringing into data cloud, it will come as is in the form of DLO, that is data lake object. But when you are taking it to DMOs, that is canonical model, you have to make sure that you are mapping each and every attribute of all the objects in such a way that when you are unifying the data, it is falling in place perfectly. If that doesn't happen, then things will be inconsistent. The result will not be giving any happiness to the customer. And one more major issue is inconsistent and inaccurate data. And this has been our practical experience. I mean, in the place of phone, nulls, email, nulls, sometimes names not at all is spelled properly. And the same, we have same customer, but in e-commerce, the spelling is different, and in POS is different. It creates a lot of problem. It comes to anti-resolution. Now, coming to the people challenges, that was about technical. Let us come to the people challenge. Business and IT teams managing POS and e-commerce operate in silos. Every company will, I don't know, I handle e-com, and the other person say I handle POS. Though the business is same, the owners are same, the stakeholders are same, the customers are also same. But you know what? E-com people do not gel with the POS people
Silo.
and POS in terms of they perform in silos. And gaining alignment and helping both groups understand the value of unification can be difficult as priorities and perspective differ. See, POS people deal business in person. They look at the people, they read the body language, they understand. But e-commerce people handle everything digitally. So I mean, the perspective is very, very different. Here, when we bring in data cloud, the objective becomes, same. And lastly, unrealistic business expectations can be an issue. When people say that I'm investing a lot of money and I'm going to invest data cloud, they think that everything will be solved. But many do not realize that successful implementation depends heavily on data quality, and poor data inevitably leads to major implementation challenges. Almost every implementation experiences the issue, although the severity may vary. If the company is mature, it will pose less difficulty or challenge with respect to unifying the data. If the company is not mature, new, or doesn't have accurate data, the problem will be very, very difficult to handle. Data 360 is not a magic. However, it can produce magical results with consistent data and perfect logic, provided we get 100% cooperation from the stakeholders. That was all about the difficulty. It is in brief. I can go on and on, but that will be very, very, too much of technical, and it will be boring. But these are major problems. Data, data, data.
Thank you, Anand. I think that was super detailed. Hopefully, the audience appreciated the length that you went into there. We did, on the flip side, get another question, which looks like it's coming from someone who may be a small business retailer. And while I know the answer, I think maybe you gents might want to chirp in and express whether or not Data Cloud or Data 360 is suitable for such a smaller size company versus some of the bigger ones that were mentioned earlier in this presentation.
Yeah, can I take that?
Go ahead.
Sure.
You know what? It is not about the size of the company. It is about what you want to do with the data. If the data is sitting in various places, and if you want to bring them in one particular place, you have to welcome Data Cloud. Okay, maybe even if you have to take loan from the bank, that is fine. I mean, ROI will be very fast, and you can get rid of those loans. So basically, a short answer is yes. If the small business has multiple customer touch points and wants a single customer view for better marketing analytics, works well when there is both online offline customer interaction, website plus store. Customer entry is important for repeat business, retail, hospitality, financial services, anywhere. The business wants segmentation, personalization, and loyalty insights. Data volume is growing and cannot be managed manually. A stage comes, even for a small company, it says that, look, I was handling data in Excel sheet and in SQL server. Now the data is growing in such a pace that I'm finding it very difficult to handle. And that is precisely, and data is not growing in one piece or one part of the business. It is growing everywhere. Maybe your e-commerce is doing good business, your store is going to business, you are opening store after store. But what about the data? Who is going to manage the data? Who is going to bring the data together and try to identify customers who are doing business in website as well as in your store? May not be ideal when data is very limited. I mean, that is given. Business is still early and does not need advanced analytics yet. And budget constraints make ongoing consumption-based pricing challenging. So these are the factors where it may not be suitable. Value for small business. See, a small business also has an advantage since they have a smaller set of data set, builds a clean, unified customer database because the volume is less, improves marketing accuracy and conversion rates, and enables personalization, targeting, and loyalty program, provides better reporting and business decision. And these are very important for any business because the data set is limited. The small business can benefit from these factors. Final thought, and a data cloud is not about company side, it's about how complex the customer data has become. And if a small business has multiple channels, growing digital engagement, wants deeper customer insight, data cloud is a strong fit. I mean, what? Also, the most important thing, which we forget again and again, whether the people who are responsible to handle data are ready to welcome data 360 or not. That is very, very important. You may have excellent data, you may be having a growing business, everything, but you have to also educate and make people ready to embrace data 360 to derive its benefit.
Thank you, Anand. Maybe I'll just layer in a little bit on the commercial aspects. So, firstly, it's a different commercial model to the classic Salesforce licensing model that typically is out there in the market. So Data 360 uses a consumption-based approach, which means that it can scale to the size of the business that you currently have. And like Anand said, it depends on the data that you have. So if there's lesser data for us to basically unify, it's going to consume lesser credits, which means it's lesser costs. Also, on the commercial model itself, there are different models within there where you can obviously pre-purchase, or you could pre-commit, or you could basically pay as you go. So there are different options there. Obviously, you choosing a certain type of model will give you certain benefits, and obviously economies of scale come into play. But just want to let everybody know that there are options out there, and we've got customers who are small businesses, we've got customers who are medium size, and then of course we also obviously have customers that are enterprise wide as well. So it's made to size to your business size from a commercial perspective as well.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
So that's,
Go ahead, Venkat.
yeah, so that's the consumption one, what we are working on. So to give a more visibility to the customers, saying that before you implement the Data 360 based on the use case, we are able to give like how the pre-consumption would look like. Yeah, that brings more confidence for implementing Data 360.
Yes, great shout.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, before we all let you go, just want to let you know that if you have your phone handy, you can take a quick snapshot of this QR code, which will lead you to the contact page for Cloud Odyssey, where you can get in touch with their team. As you've heard from the experts today, there's a lot of different components that go into Data 360. There were some good anecdotes that were shared and things like that, but this is something that I think is truly important for every business to consider, no matter your size, your industry, your field. I think this is the next level in terms of any projects that you want to consider doing, whether it's building out AI agents or you want to just implement more Salesforce products, things of that nature. I think this is all very relevant. So make sure that you do connect with the Cloud Odyssey team here. This is an easy way. You've also gotten to meet all these amazing folks. So make sure to write down their names and connect with all of us on LinkedIn. Send us a message. We'd love to know more feedback, just what you guys are seeing in the projects that you're doing. If this was a useful and hopefully a fruitful webinar today, I know there was some good content that I learned. Anand, I didn't realize you're the professor of Data 360. I think that's my new nickname for you now. So those answers were incredible. I was taking notes on this side. So hopefully the rest of the audience was as well. We do have another minute and a half before we close this out. So we're more than happy to stay and answer any final questions that may come through. But
There is one question I see that, if I'm allowed,
yeah,
I can
go ahead.
answer the question. When we ingest data into Data Cloud, what level of cleaning and installation happens automatically? Nothing happens automatically. If you are lucky, your data is very clean, very decent, very accurate. You will have to do minimal work, create canonical data model, and you are ready for the magic to take place. If that is not the thing, the word automatically is going to ditch you. Data Cloud is not here to do anything automatically. Data Cloud is here to let you ingest data, harmonize data, unify data, and give you what you're looking for. But the most important aspect of Data Cloud, let us not forget, it lies beyond Data 360. It doesn't lie within Data 360. That means the quality of data, the more accurate it is, your objects are good. If you are bringing objects from two different businesses, if they unify very easily, you will get value. Otherwise the struggle is going to be little more difficult to handle. So the word automatic sounds very nice, but it does not exist in real world.
Yeah.
Alrighty, folks, I think that is it. I didn't see any other questions come in, but thank you again for spending the last hour with us. Again, drop us any feedback you have or any further questions once we close this out. And thank you again to Cloud Odyssey and my partner in crime, Abhi at Salesforce. I thought this was a really great session, and I look forward to doing more with you guys again. All right. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.